from Kendal down to Southampton, and it would have come all the way through here. And all these bits and pieces which have got fragmented and cut about like this were all part of that system.
And you'd like to see that again?
I'd like to see it again.
Well, let's do the bit that we've got left.
You know why you are here, though?
No.
You're actually in Tattersall's yard. You've heard of Tattersall horse sales, have you?
Yes, at the great racecourse.
That's right. Well, this is where it started. Tattersall started his horses here, then he went to London, and that's where Tattersall's horse sales started from.
And now charge a fortune to get into the enclosure.
Absolutely.
From Hurstwood, it's an hour's brisk walk to our next stop at the 15th century home of the Townley family. Townley Hall is now owned by Burnley Corporation and open to the public.
Kettledrum, another one of the Townley horses.
Yeah, the most famous horse in Burnley, that. 1861, won the Derby at 16 to 1. I don't think anybody in Burnley and district was sober for about a fortnight.
Did well out of that. 16 to 1?
16 to 1.
My God.
Beautiful.
Paid the mortgage off on Townley Hall as well?
Almost.
And this is the kitchen, one of the earliest parts of the house.
My goodness, that's pretty spectacular, isn't it?
Yes, originally these great big open archways would have had roaring fires in, and that's why the ceiling's so high, to dissipate the heat. But it was modernised in the 1820s.
Would there be somebody there turning those spits?
No, that spit works through hot air, rising up the chimney, turns a vane behind that black door, and then all those spits and hooks turn around.
And this Grecian urn behind you?
Yes, this is something we've bought recently for the kitchen. This was made by the Townley Colliery. There was fire clay up there, and they made salt glazed stoneware utensils, including this water filter, which would have had a wooden tap at the bottom. You put your water in the top, and it filters through sand and charcoal to purify drinking water.
But everything will be done in this kitchen, from baking bread, making butter to roasting your ox.
There were also some separate rooms for things like vegetable preparation behind this, which we now use for workshops.
Complete works, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you, that's super.
Incredible place.
That is beautiful. It really sets the hall off.
I'll tell you what Townley is. It's a perfect example between history, natural history, and good gardening.
But those bedding out plants, begonias, what have you got there?
Well,
Cineraria maritima, they're not going to survive.
Well, they bring them up in a greenhouse and then plant them out. And, I mean, that splash of colour, I mean, there's nothing like it anywhere in the district, really. It's a brilliant garden.
You remember telling me that the Bake-Up Natural History Society used to go on outings. You know those outings included a wagonette?
Absolutely. Couldn't do without them.
No, neither can I. My wagonette is waiting just outside the grounds here.
Robert, you're a genius. You're going to save me legs.
The Bake-Up Naturalist outings used to include visits to stone quarries in Rossendale, but we've decided to visit one of the very few private coal mines in the country, at the small village of Dean, where Billy Clayton employs 15 miners.
Is it something that's in the blood, coal mining? I mean,
oh, yeah, that is. That is. Once it gets in, it's hard for you to leave the industry. They're always hankering to come back.
It's another fine mess you got me into. Down the hole again, Smithies.
What is it you're bringing out? What sort of coal?
It's industrial coal. Industrial coal. It's not domestic, it's too soft.
This is real hard grafting down there.
Yeah, it is that. There's something about it, gets in your blood. You're somewhere new every day. You're somewhere where nobody else has ever been when you're not coal face.
When did you know you were going to go into mining?
When I was... Well, my dad was there before me. But when I was 12, 13-year-old, my mother used to go out and I'd build a pit top on the table. It was a pretty kitchen table. And when she'd come back, there'd be a working model of a pit. So I'd had some inclination as what I wanted to do, but it just took some getting on at the mine.
Right. Was there an ambition at the back of your mind all the time?
The ambition were to have my own pit, eventually.
This payment system you've got here, how does it work? I notice all these toggles and, what do you call them?
Nogs.
Nogs?
Nogs. Well, that's a means of identification. Each tub that comes out of the pit, you empty it halfway down the tub so that if anybody felt like they could sort of swap, I'm not suggesting that they do, but if it arose that they could get at them easy, it might be a temptation for them to swap one nog for their own.
So each man puts his own nog?
Halfway down the tub, then fills it, so it can't be get at.
So it's the more you graft, the more you earn?
Yeah, and these lads, when they're down there, it's like a boxer boxing 3 rounds, he's absolutely out when he's finished.
It's the last stage of our outing. Ron's been down the hole, so I've accepted an invitation from John Taylor, a Bacup naturalist, to follow the course of the River Irwell under the streets of Bacup.
That's as evil a looking colour as I've seen in a long time.
It's a little bit better than it has been, but it's not too bad.
God's truth. Right orange. What's that, from the old mine workings?
Yes, we call it car water in Rosendale, C-A-R-R. It's a dialect expression which refers to this iron oxide that comes out of the coal mines.
But is it heavily polluted anyway?
Not as much now as it has been. It used to be a bit evil, a bit foul, but apart from the car water, it's quite pleasant.
You sure this doesn't go any deeper, are you?
It's quite shallow today, quite pleasant.
Is this Victorian, John?
Yes, this section here, which is about 100-year-old,
Yeah.
is an initial stone arch with brick on top. A little bit further on, we've got concrete.
And it's safe, is it?
It's possible to sort out the age of the tunnel as you go through.
How much time do you spend down here, John?
Well, I have a real home to go to, but it's just one of the places I visit occasionally
Yes.
with interested parties.
Presumably it gets very deep if there's a heavy rainfall.
When the weather is very bad, it actually fills up almost to the top further on, yes. There's a little side tributary here that comes in. It's a bit tight for you though, Bob. I don't think I'd penetrate it.
There's a dry bit here. Let's
Okay.
park ourselves for a minute and have
Yes.
a break.
Can't quite sunbathe, but we'll have a rest.
It's true. Now then, seem to be walking forever. Where, in fact, are we?
Well, we're under the main road, in the centre of Bacup, near where the bus stop is, in Bacup. This bridge section here is...
At the end of a long day, we come back to where we started, to the Bacup Natural History Society, where the members gather for their weekly meeting and the tea flows like water.
That was a long walk. That was high on.
You've done well if your water hasn't run out.
Still some tea there, Marion.
We usually have to run out.
Are you going to bring it?
Tony, don't
Is that the usual one?
It's not been a bad walk at all, except for one little
Better than
bit.
it usually is. I'll have
Somebody took us along the Irwell under the centre of Bacup.
Well, that's interesting.
Is it?
It's not just a museum, it's a club, isn't it? Oh, yeah. You know, you can sort of walk in and you suddenly find you're amongst friends. I mean,
That's right.
what do? I mean, I come 4 times a year, perhaps. Yeah. And yet, with 2 minutes of walking in, I mean, Arnold's insulted